I call Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What a load of cobblers. Mr. Speaker, I am astonished that the chair of a select committee can say that democracy is unnecessary, is irrelevant, is no longer required, and that a bill that restores democracy in Canterbury is out of touch and a waste of time. That is extraordinary from a member of this House. I congratulate, and the Green Party congratulates, Dr Megan Woods for having the Environment Canterbury Democracy Restoration Bill drawn from the ballot. This is a very important bill, Mr Speaker, because Canterbury is the only region in New Zealand where citizens don't get to vote for a completely elected regional council. Instead, we've got this Mickey Mouse arrangement where there are only 7 elected councillors and 6 appointed commissioners. An arrangement where we have effectively a rural gerrymander, where a vote in South Canterbury is worth more than a vote in Christchurch because less than 60,000 citizens in South Canterbury elect a councillor, but 90,000 citizens in Christchurch elect a councillor. It is an obnoxious state of affairs that we don't have full democracy back. That's right. The Minister, Ms Goodhue, is saying how many voted. Well, Minister, we can change that by ensuring that we have civics education in schools and that the Electoral Commission has a much greater role in enrolling voters. It is a disgrace that we don't have a fully elected council back in Canterbury. And why don't we have one? It is because it's so tied up with promoting an irrigation agenda. That's right. What did the then Minister of Agriculture say to Irrigation New Zealand at their conference in April 2010, just after the commissioners had come in? And he said, "I would have thought what happened recently with Environment Canterbury would be a signal to all regional councils to work more constructively with their farmer shareholders." And I go on to say, he went on to say, "We had to act here in Canterbury because the situation was untenable if we are going to seriously make progress in delivering this irrigation." And that's what the denial of democracy in Canterbury was all about, allowing agribusiness, Irrigation New Zealand, Waimakariri Irrigation and others to have a hotline to ministers and for the commissioners who were appointed to ensure that water management and the plans in Canterbury favoured more irrigation. And members on the opposite side have talked about the Creech report. They've talked about how Environment Canterbury wasn't performing. Well, I was one of those councillors. It was. We had cleaned up the air in Christchurch and we were tackling water management. What has happened under the commissioners? If they had done such a good job for the last 6+ years, why couldn't they have solved the problems in 6 years? Why do we still have 6 appointed commissioners on that body if the government's half-pie model and its appointed model was so successful? We only have to look at rivers like the Waikirikiri, the Selwyn. That river goes underground in its middle reaches, but that stretch where there's just a dry riverbed that is effectively a four-wheel drive track has become wider, and the dry reach of riverbed has extended for longer. Why is that, Mr Speaker? It's because too much water is being taken for irrigation. The commissioners have overseen the decline of the Waikirikiri Selwyn River so that you now have ankle-deep water at Coast Ford. Instead of a swimming hole, it's not safe to swim in down at the lower Selwyn huts. Visiting there recently with Catherine Delahunty and Mojo Mathers, the water is a vivid green. The community at Selwyn Huts has been able to swim in that river in the past. Now it's too polluted even to bathe in or to boat on. There's a picture in the press which just shows a rope hanging forlornly. People can't go swimming in the Waikirikiri Selwyn, and the decline of the Selwyn River has been exacerbated under the commissioners because they have failed to put limits on irrigation, to put adequate limits on water quality, to see these spring-fed rivers like the Selwyn restored. We need democracy back. The Green Party supports this bill which would do that.
I call Paul.